Hello YouTube fans, Rant here, and welcome to a card discussion video on Daunting Pose and PSY-Framelord Omega, and how it is really applicable in so many decks right now that its abusability could be even ban-worthy in the future. And in particular with the newest card, Daunting Pose, which is coming out in May in TCG in Shining Victories. Probably going to be a common card or a rare, knowing Konami's choices in with these kind of cards. Daunting Pose itself, its primary effect is pretty subpar. You don't really use it. It targets a defensive position monster on the field and doubles its defense and then reduces its defense to 0 during the end of the turn. But its secondary effect is the best because you can banish it from your graveyard to target one monster you control. This turn, your opponent can only attack that target. When comboing with PSY-Framelord Omega itself, you can essentially do a lock where your opponent cannot attack, i.e. you would banish this during your opponent's draw or standby phase, and then use Omega to send it back to the graveyard, and then tag out during the main phase of Omega, so my opponent will not be able to attack as it was the only correct target to attack that turn. And therefore you basically get a battle loop that essentially means you are impenetrable by the attacks until PSY-Framelord Omega is removed from the board permanently. So that is a very, very good combination that can be done, but there are many combinations that can be done with PSY-Framelord Omega. For example, Mizuki get recycling abilities of zombies multiple times. It's the most notable card its notable deck is used for. You can also use it in Raid Raptors if you take in a tuner. You can use it in Phantom Knights if you take in like a Lightsworn engine. That should be able to fulfill the requirements of that. Carbon Nidal in toy vendor decks and stuff like that, milling and stuff like that. Triad Dice is kind of useless now because we've got Daunting Pose and Paracerberus. These can definitely make it. Salivus might be able to make it. Blue Eyes could make it. I doubt it will make it. Skull Servants definitely can make it. And then you've got other abusable cards like a Pendulum out every turn. You've got protection for your dragons. If you're doing an extra deck version of Monarchs, you may be able to recycle your Pantheisms infinitely. You can return Raid Raptor. You can basically special summon any Raid Raptor Exceed monster from your graveyard, basically meaning your Ultimate Falcon will come back every single time. I shouldn't hit the table when I'm recording. You can recycle your side deck cards in the form of Slumber, which searches out your Kaijus to out Ultimate Falcon and such cards like that. Again, another Monarch card. The new Lunar Light Perfume to search a card and discard. And strike the Monarchs, turn all monsters to War Attribute. The Lauren Summon, yeah. Void Seer protection ability. A lockdown again with Mischief and Gnomes, which was most notably saw. I believe it was the YCS Infinite winning deck. I think that used that lock, or it was a deck beforehand. But Mischief Gnomes is a very good way of locking down your opponent if they're Synchro XC based, most likely Draco Battles. You've got Readiness. You can make sure you never take any damage anymore, which is quite easy to do, particularly if you're doing a Raid Raptors deck. There's a lot of cards that are abusable by PSY-Framelord Omega in the Raid Raptor deck. Breakthrough Skill, out of Anti-Fiend every turn. The Phantom Knight trap cards again. Magician's Navigate, the newest card for that. One of the newest cards for that Magician. You can return that and get a once per turn banish negation of the face of Spell Trap. If you control that Magician, you can recycle the Fusion for Destruction Sword Reminiscence. Cyphering properties again, but we don't go into that. Volcanic Reload, Recycle, and even the Original Monarch's Banishment Fodder can be recycled. Not to mention, you can add back the cards that you have already banished through like Zeta and Omega, and make sure that when your monsters return to the board, your opponent doesn't gain any of those cards. So it can cause a very dangerous situation. Not to mention, you are looping your graveyard, so you'll be basically having those cards to be rebanished again. Therefore, Jewels of the Valiant becomes very live, as you basically get to recycle it once per turn and start off an engine, which can be very dangerous, as Jewels of the Valiant is a very underrated Foolish Burial-like card that I'm hoping we'll see a lot more play in the future. But essentially, Daunting Pose is one of the best cards you can actually combo with this, as it basically stops the battle phase. It is absolute brilliance. Which decks can mainly use Daunting Pose? Probably the best one, in my opinion, would be Infernoid. You essentially have your PSY-Framelord Omega, which you like to make turn 1. You then have Daunting Pose to stop them attacking. That means your little Infernoids are protected while you start to gain control over the board. You can basically stop dying from Mermails and OTK decks when you've got more or less brick hand, as long as you've got that Omega out, and you can stall until you get your Reasoning, Last Arm Offering on Monster Gates. And you can also protect your biggest monsters. You can make Devi's defense quite heavy. I think you can make 5,800, which can be very dangerous because your opponent will not be able to run over that. And if they try to use a monster effect, you can just out that very easily. So Daunting Pose has a lot of applicability in that deck. It can also be quite utilised in Phantom Knights, since they have an easy way of milling. Another deck is Zombies, since they frequently use PSY-Framelord Omega as more or less their turn 1 play. Daunting Pose can easily cause this to basically leave your opponent out. You really don't need to run many Daunting Poses, to be honest. Too many Daunting Poses would clog. You only really need one and a delivery method. You could take in something like Beatrice to get this delivery method comboed with Omega. You've locked down your opponent, and you can keep sending other ones that you would like to lock down with. The Shiva Gnomes, for example, lock down the extra deck and you cannot attack. You're really screwed there until you like compulsory evacuation device or Omega in the standby phase. That's mainly you're out. But with these new abusable cards, PSY-Framelord Omega may eventually see its way onto the ban list, because eventually Konami is going to take notice that this card is very powerful. I don't think it is broken, because it's got a lot of things that have faults. It can be outed during battle phase and alternative phases to the main phase. It can be negated very easily, and then it's basically a 2800 beat stick for the rest of the turn. And yeah, and it's a level 8 Synchro monster. Synchros are not exactly the most current deck at the moment. Well, current deck hybrid at the moment. Deck type at the moment, I should say. The Exceeds are more prominent than Synchro. So yeah, Frame has some restrictions, but it's a brilliant card, and I class it as one of the best Synchro monsters ever created in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So yeah, I hope you found this interesting or informative in the form of Daunting Pose, because it's really cool. I'm starting to test it in my Shimonuri deck. Both of my Shimonuri decks will be running Daunting Pose from now on. My Inferno deck, when I update it, will definitely be running Daunting Pose. May even use it in Phantom Nest, because I need to do that video because it's so good, but that might be a later version. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe if you enjoyed this video and want to see more. Please leave a comment below your suggestion for the deck or suggestion for my channel in general. Please like my Facebook page if you want to see when I'm dueling and want to see when I'm possibly going to be streaming. Hopefully I'm getting that sorted. I've got it more or less done, but still quality things I need to do. So I'll probably do a test stream next week, as long as everything goes according to plan. So thank you for watching. Madarant signing out.